Hello, good morning, everyone. Today I cannot come to the class, so I give you the video clip instead. In this week is the following up from last time that we met. Okay, so if you recall, last time we have the project design class where we try to conceive the project. I believe that we start with the empathizing process and then we follow by the defining of the questions. And I think last time we also did some ideations where you have found some solutions to the problems. In the empathy process, we try to understand the customer or the people who get involved with the project problems. And once you understand them, now you can draw the empathy map, which I think everyone already did. And after that, we start to sharpen the key questions of the problems by trying to answer the following four defined questions. And then we did start to generate some solution idea. The solution idea that we had last time was not yet segregated into different kinds of idea. So I believe that every group already have at least 10 ideas or 20 ideas on how to solve your problems. So what activity that we're going to do today is number one, we will try to segregate the idea, separate them into four different corners. The first corner on the upper left side is called the white idea. Okay, so if you look at the white idea, is the idea that is not yet feasible and also is a common idea. Okay, so this idea may be not so interesting. The second corner is the yellow idea where you see that is not yet feasible but is original idea. This may be a new idea, futuristic idea, a dream idea, or a challenge that is not yet possible on the today technology. Now the next corner is the blue corner. In this corner we have the feasible idea, but they are still so common. Okay? So we call it the blue ideas. This blue idea is easy to implement and is already done elsewhere. It has a quick win, it has low risk, high acceptability. So this is the blue idea. The last idea is the red idea, the idea that is original idea and also a feasible idea. So this kind of idea is, we said that is quite an innovative idea, potential breakthroughs or exciting idea. It can make a distinction and it can be implemented. So in short, we're trying to find the idea that is a wow idea. Okay, so this wow idea is the idea that I think is not only original idea, but is also feasible. So among all the idea that you have found, okay, maybe you have already listed 10 or 20 of ideas. I like you to separate those ideas into four different corners. Okay, so that means what are the red idea, which idea of you is the blue idea, which idea of yours is the yellow idea. So once you separate those ideas into four corners, I believe that you will have some of the red idea coming up. So the red idea is the idea that we try to single out into the project idea. So if you look at the arrows, okay, on the left side, okay, so this 5 arrow may be representing your 5 red ideas. The red idea that you have, maybe some of them is good, some of them is very good, and some of them is the best one. So we try to identify which idea is the best idea. So this process is called idea evaluations. Okay, so there are many methods that you can use in order to evaluate your idea from your red idea sources into a single new project idea. So there are tools like evaluation matrix, pro and con analysis, and the SWOT analysis. Okay? So this kind of tool we can use in order to separate our idea from the idea that you have. The first one, I think this is the easiest one, and I encourage everyone to use this method. Okay. So in this method, we try to evaluate the matrix. Okay, so that means we have the idea on the left-hand side. You see here that we have idea 1 to idea 5, and each idea we try to evaluate them based on some preset criteria. For example, in this case, we use practicality as one of the criteria and creativity as the second criteria. And then the third one, eco-friendly and scalability. So you see here that we have 4 preset the category of evaluations. And we also set the weight to be 40%, 20%, 20%, 20%, so that we can find the average GPA. Okay. In this case here, you see that we don't have to set the category as shown. Okay, you can choose your category. For example, someone might say, okay, Ajahn, I don't want to use practicality. Can I use idea effectiveness or idea creativity? I want to use efficiency instead. Eco-friendly maybe is not applicable. Maybe you want to use like low budget or the budget level. Okay, so if it's low budget, not so much resources is need, maybe that is a good idea. So the topic on the top, like practical creativity, can be changed accordingly. Okay, so depending on your choice, okay, you can choose the topic on the top. You can change the weight, 40%, 20%, 20%. You can choose to be any number you like, and then we can calculate the total score. And which idea have the highest score will be the idea that we will use for the project. So this is the kind of thing that I think everyone can do in order to evaluate their idea. The second method that we can use in order to evaluate our red idea is called the pro and con analysis. For each idea that you have, you can write down the pro and the con. Okay, so what is the benefit of using this idea? What is the disadvantage of using this idea? Okay, so you can write pro and con. On the right hand side, I put in the stakeholder impact. So the impact can be positive, the impact can be negative. So you list down the impact of the idea. And also you have the risk involving each idea. Okay, so in here you're gonna write down what are the risks using this idea. Maybe it has a chance that something is not successful because this thing might happen, or the risk is that we cannot finish the project in time, or the risk is that we might need more time or more budget than we need, okay, than we originally thought. So this kind of pro and con and stakeholder impact can also be used to evaluate your idea. Once you have the list of pro and con, now you can kind of like voting in the group, which idea do you think is the best one when considering the pro and con. Okay, so this is like, there is no scoring given, but I think it's quite also good method in order to understand each idea completely. On the third method, we call the SWOT analysis. Okay, in the SWOT analysis is consisting of 4 corners. Okay, the first corner is the strength, and the weakness is the second corner, opportunity and the threats. Okay, for each idea that you have, okay, you try to identify the strength of this idea, how helpful it is. Okay, is it very good idea because strength is similar to the pro or the benefit. Okay, but the strength usually look from the inside of your group. Okay, so the strength is from your own self or your own group, while the opportunity is additional benefit, okay, from outside of your group. Okay, so the opportunity is like the future or other benefit that you might get. Okay, so the strength of the idea is that it effectively solve the problems. The opportunity is that it can be expanded in order to solve the problem some other places. Okay, the weakness of the idea, you may list something like, or the weakness of this idea is that it takes too much resources. Okay, time and budget is high. Okay, the threat is something that is outside of your group. Okay, so maybe this method is not acceptable by the elderly people, or this method is not very good for Thammasat environment because Thammasat environment has different characteristics. So this kind of SWOT analysis can be used as well, okay, in order to um, evaluate each idea. So for the SWOT analysis, you can try to do for all the idea, the strength, weakness, opportunity, and the threat of each idea. Write only some keyword, okay? You don't have to explain like in sentence, okay? So once you evaluate your idea, now you can try, okay, in order to see which idea is the best idea that you want to choose, okay? Maybe by voting or maybe by consensus among the group member. For today activity, there are 3 activities that I like each group to do. For the first activity, okay, on the worksheet of the class, okay, try to choose one of the idea evaluation tools. Maybe you use evaluation matrix, you use pro and con analysis, or you use the last one, SWOT analysis. Okay, so choose one of the two in order to evaluate your red idea. Okay, so bring all the red idea together and then try to evaluate each idea using the idea evaluation tool that you choose in part 1. And then decide together among the group which idea is the best idea that you would like to pursue, okay, or your group would like to do. Okay. After you evaluate your idea and you choose your idea, I think it's the time that you plan your prototype. Because at the end of the semester, we like to see every group to have the working prototype or at least closest to the working prototype as your final presentation. The working prototype usually start from building the prototype itself, okay, and try to test with the user or try to test in the near real situation. After that, you're going to learn from your test whether or not something needs to be adjusted, and if it needed, maybe you need to iterate or repeat the prototype or improve the prototype. The final prototype obviously will be used for trying to make the impression in the final presentation. In the prototyping process, okay, normally you start with break down the idea to solve the problem and try to sketch out on a piece of paper. Okay, so use the rough measurement, okay, and then get many variations. Okay, because sometimes your prototype may be just a proto board or maybe an application simulations, okay, or sometimes your prototype could be a the IoT board or the Raspberry Pi board, okay, or it could be a software that you wrote in order to make the idea become true. Step 2, make a rough initial product, okay? Because maybe sometimes you use glue or cardboard or scissor in order to make the representation of your product. Number 3, build your virtual product, okay? Try to create 3-dimensional model, okay, in order to make it look real. You could use paperboard, you could use rubber, you could print out, you could use anything that you think you can find. And number 4, make the iteration and change, okay? So put your idea to finalize your product, okay? Color and logo placements, okay? So that it look like real. So once you make the prototype of your idea, then you are now ready to make the final presentation. The example of the idea prototyping, maybe you draw on a cardboard or on a iPad screen, and then use that to understand your applications. Okay, so this is like pressing a button, the following screen showing up, and then when you click some menu, something is showing up. Okay, so this is the idea of the prototyping your software, okay, mobile software. And for this week, okay, I like every group to have a prototype planning chart. Okay, so make sure that you have full understanding of the description of the prototype that you plan to do. Okay, what are the description of the prototype? Okay, so list some of the characteristic of the prototype. So what are the material that you will need in order to make the prototype? So list them. And now on the right hand side, try to draw the step, okay, in order to make the prototype become finalized. Okay, maybe chopping the requirement material, assembly all the piece together, make a test, make a video of testing. Okay, so this kind of the prototyping idea and planning should be done. So this is the prototype planning chart, okay, that every group should try to finish today. So in the second activity today, I like every group to have a prototype preparations. Okay, so each group set a meeting. Okay, decide on how the prototype of the idea should be done. Okay, sketch your prototype. Okay, and if you have time, you can try to put your sketch on the worksheet. Okay, so that I will take a look at it and make a plan to make your prototype. Okay, with your friend in the group. Okay, complete the prototype planning chart and submit online. Okay. And then on the last activity, okay, on this activity, what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to have the activity of the project planning, okay. Maybe in the first week you do something, the second week you do something, in order for the end you have your final project presentation ready, okay. So we have about 4 weeks left, 5 weeks left, okay. So trying to put everything, okay, every activity until the end. Okay, maybe the first one trying to study about the prototype making. Okay, and then number two, maybe you have to assembly all the prototype. Okay, week 3, then you try to make a video clip of the prototype, and then week 4 put together the final presentation. Week 5 rehearse the final presentation, and so on. Okay. So do not forget to put in the week schedule which week you want to do. Okay, make a tick sign on that week. Okay, and the resources that you need. Okay, so what are the things that you need to obtain in order to make each activity, and then who are the responsible person in order to do this kind. So in the last activity today, I like your group, okay, to realize your idea, maybe trying to plan your activity in the activity planning chart. Okay. So the activity planning chart, if you cannot finish this week, is okay. Okay, but if you can, then it's great. All right. So we're gonna meet again the week afterward. Okay, so don't worry. Okay, so because we need at least 2 weeks in order to finalize the project planning. So why I am not in the class today trying to do this activity, okay, at least today try to finish activity 1 and activity 2. For activity 3, project planning, okay, maybe you can do it a little bit later, but if you have time, you can do it today. All right, so I guess that's all for the today presentation that I like to make. So please have a group meeting and try to finish this activity in the worksheet. Okay? So see you again next week. Goodbye. สวัสดีครับ